Komende weken wordt bekend dat de Alma Tadema tentoonstelling van het Fries Museum een grote internationale prijs wint. De tentoonstelling is nomineren voor de Global Fine Arts Award. Ze is maar de Oscar van de museumvrouwen. Tijdens die 8 maart is de prijsuitreiking in New York. Frieslanddoc maakt de volgende documentaire de aanleiding van die tentoonstelling.
Dit is de blik van een 16-jarige. Sa sjocht Laurens Alma Tadema hemzelfs. Hij zit op het gymnasium in Ljouwert, maar moet en sil schilder worden. Laurens is net benauwd. Hij door te dreamen en te dwaan. Binnen in het Frieske dorp Dronriep. Begroeven in de Sint-Paulskathedraal in Londen. Als Sir Laurens Alma Tadema. Goed 100 jaar na zijn dea opent het Fries Museum de grootste Alma Tadema tentoonstelling eer. Hoe sjoggen we in deze tijd naar dit werk dat een skoft totaal uit de mode wie, maar nou miljoenen opbrengt?
I think this picture, The Finding of Moses, is a wonderful reminder of how quickly an artist's reputation can soar and then fall and then begin to soar again. This is perhaps the definitive example. Literally, it's a situation where in 1902, Tadema is the toast of the town. He's brought to Egypt by his patron. He makes this 3-year-long picture process. This is the result of it. It's much noticed and praised. He dies in 1912, which is less than 10 years later.
Yeah.
And literally, during World War I, his reputation falls apart. And by the late 1920s, these are really tough to sell. And by World War II, they were almost cutting them out of the frames for the frames, not for the pictures.
They did with this one.
It's true, absolutely. This idea of worthless is shocking to us. Then, the slow growth in prices and respect through the second half of the 20th century, resulting in this being one of the most expensive Victorian pictures ever sold.
It's amazing, they would say in America.
It's
amazing,
true.
yes.
It was a record breaker in 2010 at Sotheby's. And it seems to me that
It's
these
so beautiful.
issues of taste are fascinating and ever-changing.
Well, today there was a headline in the newspaper and it said, Alma Tadema, not kitsch, but art.
Ah, there.
De Tadema's verhuizen in 1838 van Dronriep naar Ljouwert. Huid Pieter Tadema is notaris, je wen je ze. Maar huid versteert als Laurens nog maar 4 jaar oud is. Mem Hinke support de aspiraties van haar zoon, als er op zijn 15e jenstig ziek werd. Maar Laurens geneest wonderwol en hij maait naar de Kunstacademie in Antwerpen. In navolging van schilder Henry Leijs kiest hij thema's uit de skiëtnis. Zoals Jirre. Koningin Fredegonde had bisschop Pretextatus Delstekke litten en wacht het op zijn dea. Laurens trouwt met de Franse Pauline. Ze gaan op huwelijksreis naar Italië en hij maakt dit schilderij van de Sanremo in Rome. Hij rekt het helemaal in de greep van de klassieke arthit en voor dat werk blikt ek belangstelling. Maar het gelok is net maar het jonge stel. Het eerste bijen leeft net lang. En de famkes Anne en Laurence binnen nog maar 2 en 4 jaar oud als ik Pauline kom te versteren. Een slag voor Laurens. Hij verhuist het met zijn bijen en zuster Atsje naar Londen en dat blikt een boppenslag.
Tadema was a very smart man, and he knew that although Paris was elegant and Brussels was on the rise, there was no place like London when it comes to making money. He could see when he came for medical treatment that it was going to be a good fit. He knew from his dealer that it was going to be full of rich people who wanted his kind of art. And he thought, this looks great. And then he met the love of his life, Laura. It all came together pretty quickly, and he was hooked. And indeed, he was right, that he became the toast of Britain because he was making art that people wanted. These were people running the British Empire, and they thought of themselves as the new Romans. And that's exactly what he was doing. He was presenting people as Romans. So it all connected in a very seamless way. And this is where he succeeded, truly, and became Sir Lawrence. We are standing at the entrance of the Royal Academy of Arts. This is one of the most important institutions in Britain devoted to teaching art, collecting art, exhibiting art, and it's also a very important membership organization. The greatest artists in the history of Britain have joined as members. Let's take a look. This is a busy place, full of activities all the time, major exhibitions, really important teaching. This is a place where Lawrence Alma-Tadema felt very much at home. He was on the governing council. He was a member, of course, elected by his peers. He was also teaching students every so often downstairs in the schools. And he was very much aware of the institution as a place where the finest new art was shown. Every summer since 1768, artists have sent in their recent works for exhibition here. And Tadema was always the toast of the town during his career. His pictures were widely noted and written about in the press, and they were on view in these rooms, which are magnificent, absolutely dramatic and spectacular spaces. So he was always attending events here, not just as a member, but also as a guest.
Ivo Blom is specialiseren in de dwarsverbanden tussen film en kunst. Hij die onderzoekt naar hoe Tadema filmmakers troch de tijden heen inspireren had.
Tadema's werk is heel aantrekkelijk om naar te kijken. Het is heel evocatief. Het geeft je een heel kleurrijk en dringend beeld van de oudheid. Met name de Romeinse oudheid, maar toch ook de Grieken en de Egyptenaren. Tadema had enorm veel onderzoek gedaan voor de uitbeelding van alle settings die hij in zijn schilderijen had ontworpen. Wat voor filmmakers heel aantrekkelijk is hij gaf het ook heel gedetailleerd weer en heel driedimensionaal. Je ziet hier een prachtig schilderij van Yale, een Roman art lover. En je ziet een setting van een rijke Romeinse familie. Een rijke eigenaar die in het atrium van zijn huis een nieuw beeld laat zien, aan zijn gasten en familie laat zien. Maar wat je vooral goed ziet is de hele compositie van zo'n Romeins huis. Met zo'n bassin hier beneden aan, wat ze impluvium noemden. Bovenin was er natuurlijk een open dak, zodat het regenwater erin viel. Zo'n fontein met zo'n leeuwenkop. Zo'n doorkijkje naar zo'n verhoogde achtertuin, zo'n peristylium. Ik zal even een stukje laten zien uit film Caius Julius Caesar uit 1914 van Enrico Guazzoni. Gemaakt voor de Cines Company. En dat was, de Cines was eigenlijk de grootste Romeinse filmmaatschappij in het begin van de 20e eeuw. Je ziet hier een stukje van de jonge Brutus, die bij zijn moeder en stiefvader woont en die bezig is met bootjes te spelen. Je ziet heel goed die overeenkomst, dat bassin, die mozaïeken die eromheen lopen. Ook zo'n doorkijkje naar een tuin daarachteraan. En ook hier weer een fontein met zo'n beeld erop waarbij water spuit in het bassin.
Wat binnen favoriete werken van Marlies Stolter en Peter Trippi?
I chose the roses because I think that this rings all the bells. It is one of the great pictures by Alma Tadema for various reasons. First of all, it's unusually large, which means that it has a kind of spectacular effect when you walk up toward it. The reason it's large is that it was commissioned by a very wealthy patron of Tadema, so he knew that he was going to get his money out of it. It is also memorable because of its weird subject. It's a real story from ancient Rome of a crazed emperor who decides to, for fun, murder some of his dinner guests by suffocating them with rose petals falling from the ceiling. It's weird and wonderful and memorable. Once you see this, you never forget it. And so Tadema has presented us with something that is violent, but also, in a weird kind of Tadema way, charming. It's beautiful. I mean, murder has never been so lovely. And I feel that that is part of Tadema's gift, that he shows us the official party at the top, looking down on the mayhem below. Nobody seems to be suffering too much. They're suffering, they're going to die, covered in rose petals, but it's a nice way to go. And I think the detailing of each figure and their different expressions is masterful. There's also the sheer joy of color. This is a man who loves flowers. He actually brought in rose petals and had them dropped from the ceiling of his studio to see how they would flutter. And of course, the physics of how rose petals flutter is quite obviously handled perfectly here. A nice twist to this picture is the man at the far right in green with the beard. He is almost certainly Tadema himself. There is this frisson of naughtiness, which is rather wonderful, but to our eyes it all seems very chaste. I think at the time it might have been a little risque, and that's all right. We can go with that.
Dan de huizen van de Tadema's. Die binnen boetengewoon en boetengewoon belangrijk in het werk van Tadema en zijn vrouw Laura, want zij schildert ook. Het eerste huis bestaat niet meer. Het lie on Regent's Canal.
Alma Tadema and his young family lived first in London at Townshend House. Beginning in 1871, when they arrived, they began to decorate it in very unusual ways. They began to take out doors, for example, so that you could pass from one room to another without a proper door opening and closing. They would put up curtains instead, so that there was a sense of freedom and fluidity. And also they began moving walls in such a way that you could actually see different spaces one to the next. And that was rather unusual in the age, because they wanted to have a sense of experimentation, that they were artistic, and they wanted to enliven these spaces so that Lawrence and also Laura could paint in imaginative ways.
Het huis wie tegen geliefd bij de Londense Society. Maar het beroemdste worden is Casa Tadema, het volgende grote project van de Tadema-familie.
We are standing in Grove End Road outside Casa Tadema because it is once again a private home. That is good news, that some people have come back into the house and restored it beautifully. I have been inside, but unfortunately we as a group, as journalists, as the public, cannot go in anymore. The dome is an interesting feature that was very much desirable to Tadema. One of his earliest works from the 1860s is of San Clemente, the beautiful Byzantine basilica in Rome. And that is a space that also has a dome like that. And he decided that this was a wonderful feature for his studio because, first of all, it was lined in aluminum leaf, and it therefore cast a reflection into the studio which would brighten up the rooms. He's very much thinking about silvery, clean, bright light of the Mediterranean. And to a certain extent, the aluminum leaf covering of that semi-dome is very much in step with that. It's a pure, clean light that was coming down on his work surfaces. And also he had the big window over on the other side of the studio. So he was getting it from both sides, so to speak. all the great artists of the period, including Leighton and Millet, would have come here for various events during its heyday. Also, the family were very friendly with Princess Louise, who was the daughter of Queen Victoria, and she was a sculptor, and she was very much an intimate of the family, so she would have come. Also, the musical concerts that were mounted in the studio were very well known. They were invitation only, of course, but some of the performers there were very famous, such as Paderewski, the great Polish violinist, George Henschel, the singer and orchestra conductor and composer. So I feel that this was very much a celebrity-oriented existence that the Tadamas were living.
Voor Ridley Scott, voor zijn film Gladiator uit 2000, heeft hij heel bewust gekeken naar Alma Tadema. Dat is ook bekend. Hij heeft dat ook gezegd in interviews. En ik heb zelf ook interviews gedaan met zijn production designer Arthur Max en zijn kostuumontwerpster Jenty Yates, die dat volmondig beaamd hebben. Dat zie je bijvoorbeeld heel mooi aan het gebruik van het Colosseum. Nou, hier zie je dus Tadema's visie met dames die over de reling kijken. En als je goed kijkt, zie je inderdaad het leger in parade voorbij komen. In Gladiator is het wat anders gedaan. Hier zien we een met de computer bewerkte versie van dat Colosseum. We vliegen letterlijk over het dak van het Colosseum.
We were inspired by his architectural detail and his faithfulness to the original world of ancient Rome, which, if you go to museums or archives, which we did, you find only fragments, but not the life as it might have been, and the world put back together. Usually you only see relics and fragments. But his color palette was much too bright, positive for us. We had a darker story to tell. So we went from the detail, the accessories, the sculpture, the architecture, but we used a dark Tadema, a black Tadema, and we darkened it and created a world much more somber in palette and tone to be compatible with the story of regicide, fratricide, incest, and murder that we were telling, but always inspired by his paintings.
Have you got any idea what Mr. Tadema would have thought of the film?
I think he would be proud. He has some darkness to him, not often revealed in his paintings, but there are several that have a darker tone and a darker subject matter, but it's not typical of his work. It wasn't really, I don't think, essentially his spirit. I think he was more optimistic and celebratory of life.
In de eerste plaats is dit een van zijn allermooiste schilderijen qua techniek, vind ik. Alles is zo fantastisch. De bloemen zien eruit alsof je ze zo kunt pakken, bijna kunt ruiken. De vrouw die erop afgebeeld is niet zomaar een vrouw. Het is het zusje van Laurens, Artje. En Artje was hem zeer dierbaar. Ze heeft voor de dochters gezorgd toen hun mama overleden was. Ze heeft bij hem gewoond totdat ze emigreerde. En dit portret heet dan weliswaar Women in Flowers of Flowers, bloemen. Maar voor mij is het gewoon Artje. Dus ik kan naar dit schilderij eindeloos kijken, naar de details van de prachtige Romeinse poten, want het is wel een Romeinse tafel. Naar de bloemen, naar hoe ze haar handen heeft, de val van haar jurk. Het is allemaal even mooi. Elke morgen kom ik binnen. Het eerste wat ik doe is even naar Artje lopen.
Isn't it wonderful to have all of these objects from the house together from all around the world? It seems to me that as we look back at Alma Tadema from 2016, I would argue
that he only could have flourished in the 19th century, that he's a creature of his time, that truly he is drawing in old master Dutch painting,
Yes.
the fine painters of the Netherlands.
He did.
He's also drawing in the interest in the classical past from the neoclassicists. And of course, he's got a touch of romantic in him, that there is an element of drama and theater and passion. Even if it's not on the surface, it's there somewhere. And he conflates all of these things as only someone of the late 19th century could do. He's not a modernist, but of course he's opening up the door to modernism with his use of space. And I think that's wonderful to have somebody who is very much of his time, who still registers today as interesting.
Yes, but he also could paint like an impressionist.
Absolutely.
But he didn't choose to do it.
He knew how to, but
Yes,
he
he knew
decided
how
not
to.
to try much longer because he thought, I have other things to do with my brush.
In de tijd van Tadema wie de film nog maar krek uitvoeren. Hij moet het wel nieuwsgierig voelen, hè? Want hij wie zelfs ik warber in het theater.
In his day, Alma Tadema was hired by leading producers to design sets, costumes, and props for major theater productions here in London's West End. We're standing here in front of the Lyceum Theatre, which is one of the oldest in the city, and this was a place where Tadema worked. Tadema was interested in the way that space connects. We've seen that in his houses, and it makes perfect sense that he would fall in love with theater, because theater is about moving people through spaces. The audience watches and learns as the actors go through the spaces and do something, whether it's a tragedy or comedy, it doesn't matter. And so Tadema wanted to bring that visual experience of his paintings to life on stage. He loved it. And that makes perfect sense now when we look back on the history of film, that the filmmakers were theater goers first. They were very interested in theater. They wanted to bring that experience to film.
We're now in Leighton House, the elegant studio home of Frederick Leighton, the famous painter and member of the Royal Academy. Leighton lived and worked here in this house for more than 30 years. He was a dear friend of Alma Tadema, and the house, in all its luxury and spaciousness, is very relevant to the story of Alma Tadema because this is the only surviving artist studio house of the late 19th century still left in London. Tadema's was even more spectacular, but this gives us a clear idea of how it was to be a rich and successful artist in Victorian London.
Look, some of these houses already were here when the Tademas lived here, just around the corner.
Right, these are quite historic, aren't they?
Yes, they are beautiful.
Yep. Good.
And look, through the trees, you can now see his birthhouse coming.
It is.
Yes, there
I
it
recognize
is.
that from the photograph.
With the bay windows.
Right. Well, this really was the middle of town then, wasn't it?
It was, because there used to be a bridge.
Yep.
And a canal, of course.
Sure.
Well, Peter, here we are at last.
Here we are.
You longed to be here for a long time, didn't you?
I do absolutely love this house, I have to say. It's terrific. I have wanted to see this for a long time.
And the statue.
It's all here. This
It's
is it.
all here.
This is Tadema Corner. Yes.
It's Tadema Corner,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, the statue is interesting, actually, because it is quite severe looking. He doesn't seem so jovial as he was in life, and that's something maybe a shame. But on the other hand, one wants to be very respectful of the memory of someone who's so important in the world.
Yes, but you can't make a sculpture with someone smoking a large cigar, can you?
It would be very tempting.
Because he loved his
He would
cigars.
have loved it, actually.
Yes.
This is a piece of history.
Would you like to pose for me? Did you have a close look at the inscription above the door?
It says Alma Tadema House, right?
Yes, but it's in Frisian. It doesn't say
Oh,
house.
so it is. Yes.
It says hoes.
See, that's different. That's an important distinction.
It's an important distinction.
Right. Good. Good. Frisian pride. I think this is holy ground for those who love British art. It's very exciting to be in this building and see the context of Alma Tadema's grave. Literally buried all around are other leading figures from different centuries. It's a huge list of worthies in this very section. There are certain aspects of the plaque here that are worth focusing on. Sir, of course, alludes to his knighthood in 1899. He was elevated to the peerage, as they say, and so Sir was a title that he used. Sir Lawrence is what he was called everywhere. We also have OM, which stands for Order of Merit. That was a very big honor presented to him in 1905. The Order of Merit is a small group of very important cultural people so honored by the monarch. In this case, it would have been the King, Edward VII. And then finally, R.A., Royal Academician. That's a member of the Royal Academy. He became a member in the 1870s. So all of these things add up to serious respect and prestige. And so it was absolutely crystal clear that Alma Tadema would become a person of note to be buried here.
Een groot Nederlander, kunstvorst en kunstkenner. Aller kunstenaren vriend. Allen die scheiden en strijden en nijden, dat zijn de kleinen. Grote zielen verenen. People who make separations between people or are battling against each other, those are small people.
Okay.
And big people, like Tadema, is implied here, they unite people.
Okay, that's very grand. I like that idea.
It's a lovely idea, but it's a very old-fashioned poem.
It sure is. I mean, and then above in English, a great painter, a brave worker, a strong friend.
Almost the same,
Absolutely.
short but shorter.
But I think the Dutch is more poetic, seemingly.
It is poetic.
Which is nice.
They ask someone.
It's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Yeah, it's got a lot of emotion. And this, of course, is over the top.
One of the best pieces.
It's so great. Yeah, I think that's brilliant to match that up like that. I think Ivo has done a wonderful job.
Such a pity, but this one...
Yeah, that might just materialize later in the tour. It's hard to say.
Okay,
We'll find out.
Vienna?
Maybe. I think I need to work on Sotheby's a bit. Yeah. And I just can't get over this fantastic matching of costumes.
Oh, look at Connie Nielsen.
So beautiful.
Oh, she's such a beautiful.
She's a work of art all by herself.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, this is brilliant, though, the contrasting of light and dark.